It's been weeks since Canada's hardest hit provinces tightened up measures to try to curb the spread of COVID-19. But the virus is still running rampant. Take a look at the rate of infection over the last 7 days across the country. Alberta shows the biggest concern. Its rate is more than twice as high as Quebec and over 3 times higher than Ontario. Today, Alberta once again recorded over 1,800 new cases. As Abigail Bimman reports, there are calls for stricter measures, but some Albertans are protesting the ones already in place.
This is Christmas.
This probably won't be the only virtual Christmas performance you watch in 2020. But this one comes with a message. COVID is real. It affects all of us. A life or death message for Mike Armstrong, whose wife Michelle just came off a ventilator, struggling with COVID. The Alberta man wasn't up to doing an interview, still waiting to speak to her. But his message could use some amplifying.
Are you concerned about the virus at all?
No.
Why not?
Because it's not real.
This weekend, hundreds of people protested new COVID-19 restrictions in Alberta, a handful sporting jackets of the far-right extremist group Proud Boys.
My children miss school, they miss their friends, but they can't breathe in masks, and I'm their advocate.
The Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms has launched a new court challenge against the province.
And the lockdown measures are illegal under the Charter.
Premier Jason Kenney called the gathering irresponsible, tweeting, "While there are charter-protected rights in Canada, we also have responsibilities as citizens."
Certainly, there's lots of metrics in Alberta that are headed in the wrong direction.
Alberta has extremely high case numbers, with the test positivity rate topping 10% Friday, ICUs over capacity, and a call this week to conserve oxygen in hospitals due to the expected increase in demand.
I just don't think we have more time to wait. I think this week we absolutely need strong restrictive measures implemented.
Imposing mandatory restrictions on social gatherings in people's homes, where we really saw that as the main concern.
On the West Block with Mercedes Stephenson, Alberta's health minister pushed back against criticisms his province isn't doing enough.
We want to see our R rate come down below 1. We haven't seen that yet at this time, and so it is the case that we might be imposing further measures. We're going to be reviewing that data with our public health officials, though, before December 15th.
The R rate refers to the average number of people infected by each case. Experts across the country want it to be lower than 1. Alberta's government promised to make the current rate public by now, but hasn't done that since November 22nd. As for any future measures, the Premier said they would likely be targeted at Calgary and Edmonton and not rural communities with fewer cases. Abigail Bimman, Global News, Ottawa.
After shattering the record for cases in a single day on Saturday, today Quebec reached another stark statistic. The province surpassed 150,000 COVID-19 cases since the pandemic began. That's the most in Canada. And as Mike Armstrong reports, there are predictions the crisis will just get worse.
They're calling it a last resort. The Regional Health Board for Montreal's West Island is telling West Islanders to stay away from their local hospital. The board says the Lakeshore General has had COVID-19 outbreaks in several departments, and its emergency ward is considerably over capacity at 132%. Now, this is exactly what health officials are trying to avoid, overwhelming the system. Basically, every measure or restriction put on the public has been about protecting the ability of hospitals to treat patients.
Things are not getting better.
This epidemiologist says a tighter lockdown may be needed. Already, the virus is spreading too quickly. The focus shouldn't just be the current situation, he says, but what's coming.
We are just getting into the winter. The worst months of the pandemic may actually be in front of us.
The date that has the Premier nervous is December 25th, Christmas. What happens if families get together for the holidays? François Legault had said he'd decide whether to allow gatherings for Christmas December 11th. He didn't wait that long. This was Thursday.
I'm announcing gatherings in red zones won't be allowed for Christmas.
Now, the province is also worried about people shopping for the holidays. It brought in new rules as of Friday. Across the board, stores and shopping centers are only allowed 20% capacity.
Everyone has to do exactly the same, and this is mandatory
Businesses caught not following the rules can face fines or even be closed. The rules also apply to shoppers. Patrons can be fined. Police in Laval, north of Montreal, posted this photo this weekend to say they're out and watching. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
For the first time, Ontario is reporting more than 1,900 new cases of COVID-19. It's the second straight day of record-breaking numbers. Much of the Greater Toronto area is locked down, but one region is still open, and people are heading to malls there to do their Christmas shopping. As Morgan Campbell reports, the medical community worries that may push the caseload and stress the healthcare system even more than it already has.
Shoppers turned out in droves Sunday, lining up to enter Vaughan Mills Outlet Mall just north of Toronto.
I tried to go in Bath and Body Works, and the line was ridiculous. Wrap around the food court twice.
The mall has been crazy. I'm surprised at how busy it is actually, but we just quickly came in for a few offers and now we're heading home.
Home is exactly where medical professionals say people in most parts of the Greater Toronto area should be, as the province continues to see a spike in new COVID-19 cases. Ontario continues to smash records for the second day in a row, reporting nearly 2,000 new cases of the novel coronavirus. And while those statistics are concerning, experts say lockdown measures, although controversial, seem to be working.
I think it would really be a tragedy. It would be, with projections where 20,000 people a day. I mean, there's no way we cope with that.
Starting Monday, in all Toronto public and Catholic schools, a new stricter screening process will be in place. It involves a number of measures, including if a student has even one symptom of the virus, everyone in their household must stay home for 10 days. This follows numerous outbreak investigations in two of the country's largest school boards. It is a move this mother can get behind.
It makes sense. So I support that aspect of it. It's just going to be probably a lot more kids not being in class.
Medical experts say it is just one more layer of protection for those within a school community.
Talking about any new onset symptoms, and parents know when a kid's sick, even if it's minor. I think it's the right thing to do.
And while the province deals with the largest single-day increase to date, residents are trying to cling to some kind of normalcy, a holiday season that somewhat resembles years past.
If you have to take the extra precautions to stand in line, then so be it.
Morgan Campbell, Global News.